Welcome to the Soulful Valley podcast, the sanctuary for soul-led entrepreneurs, creatives, and changemakers ready to rise. I'm your host, Katie Carey, best-selling author, book collaboration mentor, publisher, and energy alchemist. Each week, we dive into soulful conversations, transformational journeys, and the energies that shape our lives and businesses. It's time to evolve on purpose, because the world needs your light, your words, your legacy. Let's begin.
You gotta love yourself with all your heart. If you don't already, it's time to start. 'Cause nothing's gonna work out until you do.
Lalitha Donatella Riback, international best-selling author, life coach, speaker, entrepreneur, Vedic, astrologer, spiritual teacher. Lalitha is a researcher of human consciousness who has dedicated the last 2 decades to guiding people to their highest potential and spiritual growth. She holds, among other degrees and certifications, a BA in Vedic art and science, and is the creator of Bliss Lab as a multi-certified life coach who helps her students speed up goal manifestation. Lalitha taps into her 30-year research into the Vedic arts and sciences. Lalitha's influence extends far beyond the confines of her coaching practice. Her international best-selling books, studies with renowned mentors like Deepak Chopra and Dr. Bhaskaran Pillai, and a feature in Dr. Joe Vitale's movie, Zero Limits, have established her as a leader in the fields of consciousness and spirituality. Zero Limits has already received 32 nominations, 18 International Film Awards, and raving reviews from ABC and the Los Angeles Tribune, available on Amazon Prime and Apple TV starting September 25th, 2025. You can connect with Lalitha at shreemlab.com/media. Hello, and welcome to the Soulful Valley podcast, Lalitha.
Hello, Katie. So happy to be back. Thank you. Thank you
It's great.
for the invitation.
Oh, you're welcome. It's so great to have you back here. Regular listeners will have heard you multiple times on this show.
Yes.
And you usually start the new year off for us as well with a Vedic astrology.
Yes, I've been honored every year. Thank you and your Soulful Valley audience.
And for our listeners who are new here, could you introduce yourself and let them know a bit about what you do?
Yes, I am Lalitha Donatella Riback. It's a mouthful. So that's my spiritual name, Lalitha, given by my guru. I always am grateful to my teachers. And also Donatella, I was born with it. Riback is my last name. So what I do, I never say I am, because from my spiritual studies, that means a limitation. But what I love to do is helping people experience their highest potential. And I've done so by studying lots of consciousness for 3 decades, and the Vedas and Vedic cultures all together with the sciences, the healing sciences like Ayurveda, Vedic astrology, Vedic numerology, and it's an ocean, each one of those sciences is. But what I'm doing now with you, and you know that very well, I've been writing books about all my experiences, and it's been so fantastic because I've been in touch with higher beings. So I don't consider myself a channel. I am very intuitive. I could call myself psychic, but I don't want to reduce myself to a word. So I would say I write about what my soul wants me to say. With my soul, with lifetimes of experience and desires to convey this, and also to experience it myself, of course. But also to tell the good news of who we are. We are multidimensional beings.
Absolutely. And Lalitha, you wrote 5 poems for Soulful Poems 4. What inspired them?
Well, I hadn't been writing poems since I was a child. Revelation. I've studied a lot of classical literature. So, of course, all the great poems, all the great poets, all the great authors. What can I say? I didn't follow any rules. I was quite undisciplined because these poems came suddenly. 3 of them, I woke up in the morning and I was feeling some stirring, and I was very upset, and I thought, what's going on? And I had 3 poems already in my mind, and I thought, what's going on? Why? I believe because we are in the golden age. I know it sounds really far-fetched, but it's happening. Millions of people can tell you that, but also it was predicted in all the scriptures, by all the sages, etc. So we've ended the Kali Yuga, the darkest time, when the consciousness drops, and the cow of consciousness is on 4 legs usually in the higher yugas, the higher eras of love, intelligence, divine connections, etc. So the cow was on 1 leg in the last yuga, which was called Kali Yuga in Vedic lore. And so that has ended forever for us, for the earth plane, because the earth is evolving. So what's happening now? We are in this thing called Satya Yuga, which is the golden age. Overused words, but they literally convey our higher consciousness, the light that has entered our consciousness, and our shifts. They're happening super fast. You cannot even keep track at the human level, at the rational level. You just have to trust your soul. I want to do this. You have to do it. That's it. You have no choice. So I woke up really angry with these 3 poems, and I don't know what came over me. Instead of having coffee, I went to write, and what came over me was almost shameful. I was so upset. It was like about the Inquisitions, which were more than one. Most people say the Inquisition. No, there were many. And also, and I don't remember any past lives as what they called a witch. No, it doesn't resonate with me. I'm not interested in that kind of occult. But I felt like 1,000,000 women were killed. Somebody has to speak up. And the goddess wanted me to do this. There's an aspect of the goddess that's quite fierce. So the divine archetype, a divine feminine. Beyond an archetype is the feminine aspect of what we call God, source. So there is also in ancient Aramaic, I guess it is ancient Aramaic, Jesus spoke about the God, the goddess. He never said the Father. That was a distortion of our darker time. Okay, so what happened was the goddess was upset about all the killings, all the injustices, the wars. I didn't plan to talk about Hiroshima. I visited Japan many years ago, and I did visit Hiroshima, and I saw this terrible mausoleum, this terrible stone with all the names of all those who died. It was quite horrific, but I didn't want to put that in my consciousness. I never thought about it. I was indignant like the rest of the world. It was a terrible tragedy, but I never thought about it. And instead I woke up with that and the Inquisitions. And what else? I forget. Some other very, very poignant thing. I don't remember. But anyway, these poems came out of me like a volcano, like a river. I couldn't stop it. And so I wrote whatever came out. I'm sure there was not classical rhythm or matrix. Whatever came out, I wrote. And also I wanted to talk about the golden age. That was very important to me, about the goddess, because she's what? Love, compassion, beauty. And we have all that inside of us. Everyone. About writer's block, I don't really believe in it because it's really our fear. We're all fearful of comparison. It happened to me when I was a child. I was very scared of showing my mother and my father my poems. But when they found them, they said, "Where did you copy them?" So I thought, oh, they are not bad. Indirectly, I learned that they were quite good. And that was it. I never wrote poetry again. That was quite strange because I've always written something, stories, and now everything is coming up to be healed. So I believe poetry is a great role for that. And also for us to reacquire the trust in ourselves, that we are good enough to speak up our truths and our desires, because we do incarnate for our desires. We want to experience the creation, and we want to heal, and we want to learn more. We want to acquire knowledge. or just use our imagination, as Einstein said, which is more important than knowledge. So I hope I answered the...
Absolutely. So I was going to ask you how poetry weaves into your spiritual practice and daily life, but if it was, is this a one-off after many years? Is it not something that you write regularly, poetry?
Yes, regularly.
It's just happened in time for this book.
Being regularly inside of me, because even the Vedas were written in verses, they were not prose. So why verses? We use a different part of the brain.
Yeah.
In other words, we activate more parts of the brain when we think in rhymes or in poems in general, because we're not using the rational mind or finite logic. We're using our higher functions, our higher cognitive functions. So what happens? We understand the truth better. We are tapping into the heart, okay, as a metaphor for deeper understanding, more love, more wisdom. So we do understand that. I've read the Vedas like many people, and I believe that a lot of truths are still there. The super intelligence can be found in our scriptures, in words of power. And that many were written in verses, not in prose. So I believe that's always been in me. Also studying literature at university, that's all there is, right? Poems, beautiful words that convey the divine. Usually the greatest poems were about the divine and our infinite potential. So they were not about finite knowledge, like writing a technical book, which is very helpful, very practical. But it doesn't tell you that you're God. You're not, it doesn't tell you, wow, you're divine. You have the same qualities of the divine. Those qualities are in you.
That's a beautiful share. Thank you. It's so true. And it is verses like that really, you can really feel them deeply, can't you? Yes. So Lalitha, what has being part of Soulful Poems been like for you personally? What has it meant to you personally?
To me, it was meant to be, because there were all these gifted people who love to write about their soul experiences. And together we are weaving something new. We are creating something amazing. So we are also telling, I can be a lawyer, but I can also write poetry. I'm not a lawyer. Or I can be a medical doctor, or I can be I don't know, an entrepreneur, or I sell crystals. All kinds
it doesn't matter what you do, because there are all kinds of people.
Everything. Every author, right? So every author at Soulful Valley, they're not just scholars and had classical studies like me, but they've had all kinds of walks of life, and they're quite talented people. And they're all sharing something very important about their soul. So I'm very honored to be included in this anthology. And I believe together we're creating something new and very special. That's what I really believe.
And I was very excited when you jumped in, because it's the first poetry book you've jumped into. So when I saw it, it was like, wow, Lalitha's back.
That's awesome.
You've been part of the Evolving on Purpose series. You were in co-creating with the Divine, and you've published 2 solo books with us. And now Soulful Poems 4. What would you say your journey with Soulful Valley Publishing has been like?
Oh my goodness. My level of success has skyrocketed. So I wrote a book, Bliss Lab, how the ancient yogis acquired supernormal powers. And how you can too. So that was my message. You can, you could refine these powers in you. So that was a very profound book for me. And it took me 4 years, maybe 5 even, because it was about the yogic path. It was quite advanced for most people. But then I tried to make it too grounded with personal experiences. You have to tell your story, right? Otherwise it's boring. You can go and study the Vedas. It's much more profound. Otherwise, what you can do though is read the experiences and how to ground this Vedic ancient knowledge and wisdom into our everyday life. So that happened, and people were crazy for this book. They told me amazing things, like they kept it on their meditation book. Why am I telling you that? I was very satisfied, but I wanted to reach more people, and it was more successful in Italy perhaps than in the US because there were so many books, but it did make number one hot new release. So I was very excited. But when I met you, boom, immediately my books were number one bestseller in the US. Huge country, the biggest market in the world. So that was quite exciting. So what happened? Also, the second book was the number one bestseller in the US and Australia and Europe. It was like very successful everywhere. So why wait 4 or 5 years? And also, the time has accelerated. I think I've talked to your audience, very advanced listeners. They're golden age listeners. So they understand, right? You too understand that time is not the way we used to think about. So time is very fluid and programmable, as my teacher says. So you can program. You don't have to wait 5 years to publish your successful book. 2 of my books happened within 2 years. So the first was Think and Receive Miracles. She was now a big publisher in Italy, picked it up and wants to publish it. It's called Curcio Editori, which is at the top. So I was very excited. And that's thanks to you, because it was a number one bestseller and you do a fantastic job and everything is flawless. And also the second one, and to me is very close to my heart, because the Divine Feminine has returned with a vengeance, not to hurt anybody, but to restore truth, wisdom, love, compassion. What do we need right now in the world? Not another war. We all know. What do we need? Compassion for each other, for our unique life experiences, for incredible sorrows. I mean, suffering has to end. And that is what happens actually in the Golden Age. So the best thing about the Golden Age is not that we talk to gods, the higher beings, because they are in us and we are in them. It's their dharma to connect with us. But also that we stop this suffering. Enough is enough. We have to stop that, and we have to start connecting with our heart, desires, and fulfill our destinies, which have to be happy, truthful, and noble, and we have so much to offer. So that's the main reason I wanted to talk about the Divine Feminine, Golden Age goddesses. So yes, anybody who's writing anything, they should contact you. And also, thanks to you.
Well, that's the next question I'm going to ask you.
Oh, really?
What has the experience been like being in the Zero Limits movie, which is, we've both now upped our audiences because of we're even in this movie before it's even been released.
Yes.
My podcast is about to hit its first million. I haven't even told my audience that yet. I've been sharing it on Facebook.
The more the merrier.
But, there is a deep message in the movie with all of those of us that are in that movie that sort of resonate with this
audience
period of time. Yeah. So, yeah, what was it like for you to be in the movie, Lalitha?
It was a dream come true, also a meditation come true. I manifested it. So it happened very casually. I was meditating, I always do. It's part of my job, also my passion. Okay, so I was in a deep meditation and I was seeing all these beautiful things that were coming to me. I try to use a mantra to ground it, so I'm not just doing mundane meditation. I try to make it serious so I can grow and understand things better. So what happened was that suddenly I saw a movie crew. They were filming me. And I thought, excuse me? Why? I thought, wow, this is very pleasant because we all do videos. We use our phones. We use our tripods. It's a nightmare sometimes. Maybe you have a videographer. I've had a videographer. It's quite expensive for me. So seldom when I really have a big message, I use a videographer. Otherwise, I use my phone because I need to talk. So, and I see somebody, a cameraman, and I thought, oh, this is so nice. I do want to do that. You know how the mind doesn't stop even in the highest states of samadhi? So you can be enlightened, you still have the mind going, not very fast. Maybe it's subdued, but the mind doesn't disappear until we die. And even then, there are states in which you feel the mind is still there. So what happened was really like delight. Oh, I love that. Okay, so every time I meditated, I introduced it. I thought, why not? And maybe it was a month later that you asked me, would you like to be in the Zero Limits movie? And I thought, what's Zero Limits? And then I found out there was a fantastic book by Dr. Joe Vitale. Does it say Vitale or Vitale? I don't know. Vitale, right?
Vitali, I say. I've listened to him introduce himself a few times to try and get that right.
Vitale, yes, because the last name is Italian, I believe, so I say Vitale. That's wrong though, because he's a So I found out there was this amazing book and I read it and I was excited. Yes, yes, I wanted to be in the movie, absolutely. And we're all visionaries. All these people, they're incredibly talented as entrepreneurs and as speakers and also as coaches. And I'm a coach, a life coach, like many people. And we use fancy words like transformational mindset coach, but that means we help people. And we're all helping people. And I believe this is one of the most important movies for me ever. Of course, I'm biased, but also because like the people in the Dr. Joe Vitale and other people were in The Secret. Was that perhaps the most inspiring movie of the century? For me, it was. So the law of attraction was huge, right? But there are other layers, and I believe this movie reveals the truth. Okay, the law of attraction is amazing, it's nice, but alone
But I spoke to someone about this the other day. It's like the gateway, isn't it? It's the gateway. And that movie was 20 years ago almost now, wasn't it? It was in 2006 it was released. So those ideas were pretty new in the Western world at the time, weren't they? But it was a gateway to people opening their minds and their hearts to something different, something new. And I think, now, 20 years later, we know more, don't we? We know more. The science has shown us more as well. And and I know that everybody in our Authors Hub who is now in this movie had some sort of a vision to do it. It wasn't we didn't think about it. there were events that happened that we ended up in it.
I honestly, when I saw The Secret many years ago, like everybody else, I didn't even dream that I would be there speaking. But I did think, how did they get to this idea? Because I loved it. I started my Vedic studies and yogic studies in 1993. So all these decades, I never really thought, I would be in a movie like that. But the idea was very appealing, of course. And it happened. So we manifested it.
We did. It's magical. So what message do you hope that people take away from this movie?
There are no limits, obviously. And that's what the yogis say. We are infinite possibilities, unlimited possibilities. And that's the greatest message the yogis left us. And they still do, because they still exist. Sometimes they're quite secluded. They don't want to be to give their teachings, and so they don't become diluted, but they still support humanity with their prayers, with their rituals, etc. So we don't destroy ourselves. And so the knowledge is in you, right? But what did Einstein say again? Imagination is more important than knowledge, because knowledge, like AI, until it becomes sentient, is finite for now, right? But we are infinite. So Even a supercomputer cannot reflect the inner intelligence, the true knowledge of the heart. So what are we doing now? We're bringing back love, compassion. They were always there, but their voice was drowned by so much darkness. So now in the golden age, we get to express our divine qualities. So yes, of course, Ho'oponopono, which is part of the Zero Limits movie, is forgiveness. First of all, if you cannot forgive somebody who has done evil things or painful things, think that you want to free yourself. Don't you want to be free? You cut that cord. You forgive them, so you forgive yourself and you let it go, and it's over. And it doesn't haunt you, so you're free to do whatever you want. So we're talking about freedom and the incredible amount of love and compassion. We can heal the entire world, as Louise Hay used to say, right?
Absolutely. And for those that might be listening that struggle with forgiveness because whatever's happened to them, they can't move beyond. There is also a gift in coming to a position or a place of acceptance before, because sometimes just coming to there can be helpful to move towards, well, acceptance. I think it's beyond forgiveness, to be fair. I think if you can come to a place of acceptance,
Difficult, but yes.
and that, yeah.
Easier than acceptance because they always.
Well, different people, I suppose, different people have different perspectives around the words, don't they? So, yeah.
Lalitha. Yes, because by accepting, we admit that we were part of that equation, that that person didn't come in our life out of the blue. There is a destiny, and it's our free will is in what we do with it. We have infinite possibilities, but first we have to admit it. And also, I believe that pain is an obstacle. So if you don't forgive that person, you'll be stuck in pain. And I don't want that. I rebel. I don't want to be a captive. I want to be infinitely free and sovereign. So sovereignty is also important, right? Ho'oponopono gives you sovereignty. You're forgiving that person will heal at some level, even if they don't care about you. Something will change in the universe. There's superposition. Yes, some people are.
And I think as well with the Ho'oponopono prayer, it's more than forgiveness. So the whole, when you use the whole thing, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. There is something in all of that, if you feel into those words, more than a thought about them. It's a feeling, isn't it? It's a feeling that you come to.
Feeling is superior, yes. Feeling is superior to the rational mind and other cognitive functions. So feeling, then you have to explain it. Sometimes words are not enough. That's why poems, I guess, can explain better. Because you use the anterior cingulates. The yogis associated the anterior cingulates, lower other parts. I am not a neuroscientist. They associated that part of the brain with higher intelligence and emotional intelligence. So relationships start from emotional intelligence. We don't say, okay, it's time to get married. Let's find a suitable biological male or female. What do? We fall in love. So that's feeling, and we understand better. When we are in love, we are creative. When we are in love, we understand things intuitively. It's very beautiful.
It is. And when you just said that about not being a neuroscientist, Lalitha, the thing that popped into me was that we do have one in our movie Zero Limits, because John Assaraf is in there.
Yes, he studied neuroscience for a long time. He was in The Secret also.
He was. If you could share one poem or one message with the world right now, Lalitha, what would it be?
I'd rather not read mine, but I would like to mention two beings, very important, two kinds of poems. Keats was my love, unheard melodies, what's unheard. So they spark our imagination, the metaphor of that tells us that we are infinite. So yes, so the melodies in our hearts are forever, are eternal. So that's quite beautiful. And also I want to mention a poem, a verse of the Rig Veda, because there's ancient wisdom and so much love. So I like to share that. So the yogis talk about a thing called soma. Soma is a nectar, amrita, that really happens in our brain. It's secreted by the brain in higher states of consciousness. It's infinitely healing, so the soma. And so it's both metaphorical, but also there is such a thing as nectar. It heals the body as well. So I drank the soma, I went to the galaxies, and I saw the gods. Now, what can a mere human do to me? I get tells you that you're completely sovereign. There's infinite freedom and so much love. And we are connected with all the worlds, all the universes. So that touches my heart. I hope
Thank you for sharing. If you want to hear Lalitha's poem, there is one on the group episode that we put out a couple of days ago, because your recording that you sent to me went out on that episode. And Lalitha, where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
They can find me on Instagram as Donatella Riback, or in other media, LinkedIn, everywhere. But also they can find me on my website, shrimlab.com. Or also if you Google my name, something will come up, so you can contact me. I'm always happy to, answer questions or help, or you can sign up for one of my courses. I do only one-on-one. I don't do group courses. I've had better results as one-on-one. And also, I'm not crazy about the digital courses. I have one. I did not see the results. I really love to guide, like heart to heart, really. We have to be connected and help each other. So that's how I like to do my teachings and help.
I wasn't aware of your digital course, so I might have to come and have a look at that now.
Yes.
Just pricked my ears up.
Great, thank you.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Lalitha?
Not today, but thank you so much. Thank you so much, really.
You're so welcome. And I'll see you when we launch the book on the 9th of September. Bye for now.
Look forward to that. Thank you.